Hi, and welcome to the China Uncensored studio. I'm your host, Chris Chappell. As you may have heard, YouTube has been cracking down on content deemed too controversial for advertisers. Some people have been outright banned from the platform, and many more have found themselves demonetized and pushed to the back of the suggested videos list, where even their subscribers have trouble finding them. Channels that fall outside of YouTube's usual catalog of 30-minute Vine compilations, cooking montages, Minecraft Let's Plays, and creepy dark web pregnancy videos for children have had a hard time surviving on the site, especially if Google thinks they might upset advertisers who want to sell things or who have products made cheaply in places like, China. Yes, the Chinese Communist Party gets a bit touchy when you call out their human rights abuses. Since the adpocalypse of 2016, China Uncensored has lost the lion's share of its ad revenue. We were this close to losing everything. But then, you stepped in. More than 1,000 of you joined the China Uncensored 50-cent army, contributing to our show through the crowdfunding website Patreon. You allowed us to keep our staff and not end up on the street fighting rats for half-eaten chunks of dollar pizza. You also helped us grow the show, and we've done amazing things that were only possible thanks to your support. We've traveled to disputed waters in the South China Sea, interviewed activists, pestered politicians, appeared on national television, given important talks at places where people give important talks, covered freedom and democracy issues in Hong Kong. And with all of you making phone calls, together we helped rescue a friend's mother who was detained by Chinese police for practicing Falun Gong. And one of the police officers in the detention center apparently told her they got a lot of calls demanding they let her go. Well done, my 50-cent army. And all this we've done despite what any corporate behemoth thinks. So on this episode, we'd just like to express our gratitude and give you an exclusive peek behind the curtain of China Uncensored.
So we have an idea for an episode, and then either Chris, Matt, or I will do the initial research and write the first draft, and the other two people will edit the script, and we collaborate and contribute until we're happy with it, what it looks like. And then Chris will record the episode in the studio, and then Seamus will video edit, and then we publish. I'm the humor ninja. And although I don't look like the kind of person who would be funny, I punch up the script with jokes. And also a very important part of my job is that I tell Chris when he's funny and I tell Matt when he's not funny, which is constantly. I actually don't work only on China Uncensored. I have another full-time job because, making fun of the Chinese Communist Party on the internet is not a very lucrative career, and right now China Uncensored can't support everybody who works on the show. Our writer's room is actually mostly here. I have literally texted more than once, if the FBI is looking at this, we're just kidding. I actually really love traveling for the show, and I think that's something that we've been able to do more thanks to all the Patreon support. I mean, I would never really have had experiences like, spending 3 days on a Filipino fishing boat in the middle of the South China Sea, or going to Hong Kong and covering something like the umbrella movement, which was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. It's just always an adventure.
I'm the producer, so it's my job to make sure everything actually gets done on time. And I organize things, I review every single script, I review every single video, and make sure that we really produce the best possible quality, or the best quality that we have time for. The most difficult part of this job, I think, is planning for the trips that we take. There's just a million little things that all have to be wrapped together, done in just the right order. And frankly, Chris and Shelley aren't making this any easier. Every month, about 80% of our budget comes from Patreon support. and about 20% from Google advertising on YouTube. And it used to be the other way around, but since that apocalypse, it's become extremely difficult to fund anything through YouTube ad revenue. And our videos are getting constantly demonetized. Every month, we get about $15,000 to $18,000 through Patreon. And I know that sounds like a lot, but considering that we have 4 staff, plus we have expenses, we have rent for the studio, we've got hiring cameraman, we've got buying different assets. There's a whole lot of things that we need to do. We also pay for training classes that Chris takes. We got airfare, hotels. So all in all, it's pretty difficult for Chris to even pay back a student loan debt. These things take a lot of time, and they take money, and they take resources and energy. But, we want to do something really awesome for you guys.
Post-production is a huge part of China Uncensored, since there's just so many elements that go into an episode. Footage needs to be organized and cut together. Normally an episode would only take up a couple gigabytes, nothing crazy. Let's take a look at the episode they shot in DC. Shouldn't be too, this could take a while. Flash cut. Okay, with that grueling mess out of the way, let's take a look at some of the assets that go into an episode. Even our shorter videos will have a pretty substantial list of sounds and visuals. Articles, titles, transitions, music effects, footage of Chris, and whatever these are. Some of these things we have on file, but a lot of it has to be made. Things like a map showing some disputed region that all the involved parties will send you angry comments over, or Chris's face grafted onto Putin's body on a horse for Chris's own personal use. Yeah, sure. But some edits are a lot more labor-intensive. For example, this Schoolhouse Rock parody. With such a tight schedule for releasing 3 to 4 episodes per week, we can't design and animate something like this in addition to everything else we're doing. And that's where you come in. Because of your Patreon support, we were able to pay an animator to put this little number together. So thank you. Because of you, I didn't have to sleep in the handicap stall at the office while trying to meet some insane deadline.
So now you've seen what goes into making an episode of China Uncensored, and how your Patreon support helps each step of the process. You give us the freedom to cover the real news, regardless of how corporate giants feel about it. You give us the budget to travel around the world and share the stories of people standing up against the Chinese Communist Party. And you give us the ability to explain complex Chinese legal issues through a nostalgic Schoolhouse Rock spoof. Okay, yes, we are weird. But we're all weird together, and you are a big part of we. I mean us. You helped us save the show. You stood up when YouTube might have shut us down, and you still help us keep the show going and growing. One of the biggest tech companies in the world couldn't stop you, and that's pretty incredible. Now is an important time for us at China Uncensored. The world is finally starting to realize the truth about the Chinese Communist Party, but there's still a long way to go. So if you haven't done it yet, go to patreon.com and continue the fight with us. Or if you're already supporting us on Patreon, even an extra 50 cents or $1 can make a difference. I'm Chris Chappell. Thank you for supporting China Uncensored. Together, you and we make us us. Or something.